The story begins as Katie's friends notice she cannot sleep. Katie blames strange dreams that may belong to someone else. She cannot tell whether those nightmares are even her own. Jess urges Katie to choose happiness instead of feeding her fear. Soon, a breakdown strands Katie, Jess, Chloe, April, and Ryan. Nobody has a phone or signal. Jess blames Katie for suggesting their reckless phone-free trip. But Katie accepts responsibility and volunteers to find help. The group spots a mysterious person standing down the road. Then Jess claims an approaching van proves her confidence justified. Dallas offers the stranded group a ride. They accept after confirming that Dallas is heading toward Austin. Along the way, Katie asks Dallas for an improvised local tour. Dallas changes course and takes everyone to a secluded swimming hole. Katie learns the tour van belongs to Dallas himself. He jokes that business improves as the strangers crowd around him. Katie also learns Dallas considers this remote Texas town home. She praises Texas while Dallas studies her unusual confidence. Dallas asks why the friends are traveling toward Austin. The group is chasing a music festival and one reckless weekend. But Katie doubts Dallas fits the harmless tour driver image. Dallas answers that Katie hardly resembles an ordinary festival visitor. The roadside shop becomes the traveler's next isolated stop. Inside, the group wastes time playing with Red's novelties. Ryan checks on Chloe while everyone plays inside the shop. Chloe privately tells Jess that Dallas makes her nervous. Jess agrees. Dallas seems strange, but refuses to take danger seriously. Instead, Jess tells Chloe to relax and enjoy the detour. Red learns Dallas found the travelers stranded near Fredericksburg. The group insists Austin remains their only real destination. Jess teases Katie about Dallas until Katie shuts her down. Katie reminds Jess that none of them knows anything about Dallas. Red quietly tells Dallas that Levi wants an urgent meeting. Ryan's detour reaches a roadside taco stand. Maya hears the traveler introduce himself as Ryan. The server gives her name as Maya and returns his attention. Ryan invites Maya to join the group's Austin Festival trip. She chooses a smaller risk and suggests the place next door. Ryan claims he moves fast, only for someone unforgettable. But Chloe pulls Ryan aside before his new date begins. She demands the identity of the woman who captured his attention. Ryan recognizes Chloe's jealousy, although she refuses to admit it. Chloe angrily sends him back toward the taco stand. Elsewhere, investigator Rachel searches a garage for hidden evidence. Rachel asks mechanic Bobby to trace several suspicious license plates. Rachel's search is interrupted by familiar local predator Levi. Rachel hears Levi invite her to his house later. Levi warns Rachel not to disappoint him after accepting. Once alone, Rachel curses the man she is secretly investigating. Back in the van, Katie suggests Dallas could easily be a killer. Katie hears Dallas question her comfort with killers. Katie outlines how he could lure festival travelers into isolation. Dallas hears Katie predict everyone dies before sunrise. Katie hears Dallas turn the murder fantasy back on her. Katie hears Dallas ask which weapon she would choose. Katie says she handles knives well because she likes cooking. The unnerved group finally asks where Dallas has taken them. Dallas offers a nearby motel instead of continuing through the night. They choose the motel despite Chloe's growing suspicion. Dallas promises he will still be nearby the next morning. Dallas hears Katie ask whether he plans to stay. Dallas identifies the young motel manager as Brian. Then Katie asks Dallas to show her somewhere serving coffee. The cafe gives Katie and Dallas another private stop. Dallas says constant isolation eventually becomes normal. Katie answers that she hates most people anyway. Dallas admits that hatred is why he lives away from everyone. Katie confesses that she has never fit into ordinary life. She imagines this isolated place might let her become different. Back at the motel, Katie reports a man watching her outside. Dallas identifies him as a former music teacher ruined by accusations. The town accused the teacher of abusing a student without proof. Rumors drove him away, destroyed his marriage, and cost everything. When he returned, the silent outcast always wore black gloves. Dallas says the gloves remind locals of what they did. Jess notices Katie and Dallas flirting. Chloe insists something about the van driver remains dangerously wrong. At the desk, Brian checks the travelers into his motel. He assigns the group room 8 for the night. Jess tells Brian that April already has a crush on him. Jess reveals April's name and encourages Brian to approach her. Inside their room, Chloe again tells Jess she distrusts Dallas. Chloe hears Jess dismiss the warning because Katie likes Dallas. Jess insists the festival and recovering her car still come first. Jess reveals her grandparents gave her the abandoned car. Katie is startled while waiting outside alone. Katie promises April that a mysterious surprise is coming. Katie invites the others over if the motel becomes boring. Across town, Levi notices the vulnerable new arrivals. Dallas asks Levi to leave the travelers alone. But Levi reminds Dallas that he supplies everything Dallas needs. Levi promises the newcomers will make this a profitable night. Back at the motel, Brian nervously confirms April's name. He admits noticing her, and April openly returns his interest. April asks whether the motel's abandoned pool is available. Brian adds drugs and his friend Wade to their planned gathering. Brian calls Wade so April's friends can join them. Meanwhile, Dallas picks up another hitchhiker on the empty road. The hitchhiker hears Dallas warn that his ride is unsafe. The hitchhiker replies that Dallas is not the only danger. Dallas hears the hitchhiker ask about collecting the wrong predator. Dallas hears how a robber might enter a stranger's vehicle. Dallas hears how the intended victim might be worse. She suggests that killer may have repeated the trap many times. The hitchhiker asks what makes Katie so special to Dallas. Dallas says Katie is different from his usual passengers. The woman warns that supposed wolves often overlook nearby hunters. The hitchhiker ends her warning and prepares to leave. Later, Rachel enters Levi's filthy home to continue her investigation. Rachel endures Levi's pressure for personal answers. Levi dismisses Rachel, unaware she found evidence against him. At the motel, Chloe tells Jess that the entire stop feels wrong. Chloe connects the van, swimming hole, and Katie's behavior. Chloe also overheard Katie and Dallas discussing how killers operate. Jess hears Chloe accuse Dallas of bringing them here to kill. Jess mocks the theory as a ridiculous roadside slasher story. Jess hears Chloe insist these disappearances happen constantly. Jess reduces Chloe's warning to another anxious spiral. Chloe insists their wrong turn has trapped them somewhere hostile. She predicts none of the travelers will survive the night. Chloe hears Jess blame Ryan instead of the danger. Their argument ends when Jess tells Chloe to call her therapist. Jess leaves for a drink while Chloe remains isolated. At the pool, Brian asks Wade to help him approach April. Wade instead gets Chloe's room number from April. At Levi's house, Rachel's search ends when Levi catches her. Rachel finally admits she is investigating the Travelog murders. She received the case because this town was once her home. Levi recognizes the murder series and mocks its official name. Rachel hears Levi order her to leave everything behind. But Rachel's screams reveal that Levi attacks her moments later. Chloe meets Wade, the stranger waiting outside her door. He invites her to join April and Brian beside the pool. Wade claims April specifically asked for Chloe's help. Chloe refuses because exhaustion and fear have overwhelmed her. At the pool, Brian and Wade wonder whether she might reconsider. Brian admits he values the motel because it leaves him alone. April and Brian finally admit that they like each other. Meanwhile, Jess accepts a drink from a confident cowboy. She says free alcohol matters more than the stranger's questions. Jess hears the cowboy ask whether she is passing through. The cowboy hears Jess order something stronger. Alone again, Chloe retreats into the motel bathroom. A movement behind the curtain alerts Chloe. The bathroom attack begins behind the shower curtain. At the bar, Jess turns drinking with the cowboy into competition. The cowboy invites Jess to dance after gaining her trust. Jess accepts the cowboy's drug. The cowboy watches Jess accept his dangerous promise. Elsewhere, Chloe screams as the unseen attacker overwhelms her. Jess remains distracted in bed with the cowboy. Katie receives Dallas's midnight call in her motel room. Katie asks when he plans to come and get her. Dallas says Katie is safe, though he may not be. Their flirtation becomes a direct contest over who is dangerous. Katie hears Dallas ask whether her door is locked. He reminds her that she claimed skill with knives. Katie hears Dallas demand her motel room number. Another motel guest becomes the night's next hidden victim. The clock reaches 1 as another body lies exposed. The radio host receives a special request from an anonymous caller. Dallas dedicates the request to someone closer than she expects. He dedicates the song to Katie. The threateningly tender dedication confirms Dallas is watching her. Elsewhere, Waitress Janet serves regular customer Hank his nightly coffee. Hank asks whether working alone ever frightens Janet. He explains the highway connects their town directly to Austin. Disappearances and bodies began appearing along it 5 years earlier. Both travelers and locals became victims of the unsolved killings. Hank emphasizes that police have never caught the murderer. Levi enters the diner and immediately provokes Hank. Hank wants a quiet town where nobody watches their back. Levi mocks that promise by redefining peace and troublemakers. Hank hears Levi mock the failure that brought him here. Levi claims Hank failed to prevent the tragedy bringing Levi here. Hank warns Levi that he has chosen the wrong opponent. Levi hears Janet end the diner confrontation. Before leaving, Levi announces that Rachel has returned. Levi hears Hank warn about dangerous shadows on the road. Afterward, Janet hopes Levi will never come back. Hank quietly considers solving the Levi problem himself. Back at the motel, Brian shows April Hank's enormous hatchet. April jokes that the weapon has probably killed before. April and Brian turn their frightened roleplay into foreplay. Brian and April abandon the pool to get a room. At the diner, Hank mentions Janet's failed relationship with Travis. Janet denies another man caused the breakup. Hank leaves Janet alone after their uncomfortable personal exchange. Jess stays with the cowboy. A violent knock interrupts them inside the motel room. Katie arrives outside, forcing the couple to hide their panic. Jess jokes that only imaginary killers are staying there. Jess keeps mocking the caller instead of recognizing real danger. Another call reaches the room while the cowboy remains exposed. Someone pounds on the door after the phone game ends. Katie's arrival interrupts the hidden couple inside the room. Katie's visit immediately becomes a search for Chloe. Chloe's absence finally stops the room's nervous joking. Elsewhere, Chloe is alive and imprisoned behind a locked door. She pounds the door and begs an unseen captor for release. Red receives Dallas, who returns for advice about Katie. Dallas admits that something about this traveler has affected him. Dallas hears Red begin a story about a fearless woman. Dallas hears how the woman warned Red about being killed. She disappeared before Red could hold on to her. Dallas hears Red confirm that another mess was cleaned up. Red warns that Levi's recent murders have become dangerously sloppy. Red asks whether Dallas truly cares about Katie. Back at the motel, April wakes beside Brian in terror. April says a nightmare showed someone murdering all of them. The dream makes her fear that nobody survives the motel. Meanwhile, Jess's cowboy tells her the local legend of Ricky. Jess listens as the cowboy names the vanished driver Ricky. Jess hears that severed heads were found inside Ricky's van. The cowboy warns that rumors say Ricky has returned. In another room, Brian tells April he genuinely likes her. He proposes abandoning the motel and driving straight to Austin. April accepts, turning their flirtation into an escape plan. Levi reveals Rachel's corpse to Dallas. Levi orders Dallas to help dispose of the murdered investigator. Dallas protests that Levi killed a woman and brought her to Red. Levi answers that Rachel's badge made her a threat to them. The murder pushes Dallas to quit Levi's operation. Back at the motel, Hank scolds Brian for abandoning the desk. Brian hears Hank demand that he contact Texas A&M. Hank says Brian owes the job to their father's friendship. Hank discovers Brian removed his hatchet to impress April. Elsewhere, Levi tells Dallas that leaving their partnership is impossible. Levi calls Dallas a cold and calculating killer without mercy. Dallas insists he refuses to keep killing for Levi. Levi threatens to reveal every murder to Dallas's father. Dallas hears Levi order every traveler killed. Dallas hears that every identity and belonging must disappear. Dallas attacks Levi rather than obey another massacre order. Levi treats Dallas's refusal as betrayal after years of control. Levi promises to bury Dallas beside Rachel before the night ends. Dallas fights back while demanding Levi's true identity. Dallas pants after killing Levi, ending years of control. Levi's body confirms Dallas has escaped his control. Dallas calls Katie while both prepare for their private confrontation. Katie hears Dallas accuse her of murdering the others. Katie coldly shows that friendship offers them no protection. She suggests Dallas may not survive until tomorrow either. Katie hears Dallas promise to keep his blade close. Dallas hears Katie warn that he should be afraid. She refuses to reveal her plan until he remains nearby. Katie promises to sleep beside her knife. Another isolated motel guest falls to the black-gloved attacker. Brian returns to April after Hank's intimidating interruption. Brian explains that Hank still monitors and controls his life. April asks whether Brian truly meant the Austin escape offer. Brian confirms he intends to leave with her. At the radio station, Midnight Misty takes a threatening live call. Misty hears the disguised caller promise her death before sunrise. Misty mocks the coward and invites the attacker to find her. A sudden pounding at the studio door tests her bravado. Misty approaches the door while expecting the promised killer. Billy is the visitor. Misty curses Billy for terrifying her during the live threat. By morning, Jess says her cowboy vanished with his car. More importantly, Chloe never returned after the previous night. The group guesses Chloe joined April and Brian somewhere else. Katie searches the motel while Jess waits beside Dallas's van. Jess asks about Chloe. Katie claims Chloe has vanished from every room and walkway. Jess finally demands that everyone leave the motel immediately. During the drive, Katie orders Dallas to pull over. Jess protests when the van suddenly turns away from Austin. Dallas stops inside a forest where escape routes disappear. Jess demands an explanation as Katie takes control. Katie orders Jess to inspect a bag left on the ground. Katie watches Jess discover what was left inside the bag. Jess hears Katie change their destination away from Austin. Katie tells Jess that Austin will never be reached. Katie kills Jess before her betrayed friend can respond. Dallas immediately attacks Katie, turning attraction into a knife fight. After drawing blood, Katie says the world now has two killers. Katie hears Dallas ask about the trucker. Katie answers that she has always hated truckers. Dallas asks Katie about her friends. Katie simply says she never liked them either. Dallas refuses to lose. Katie answers that she will keep trying anyway. After their fight stops, Dallas asks why she spared him. Katie finally admits that she loves Dallas. Dallas watches Katie drop her knife and end their battle. Dallas suggests they could still choose to become good people. Katie only promises that she will try to stop killing. Police lights stop April and Brian before they reach the festival. An officer orders Brian to shut down the vehicle. The officer identifies himself over radio as Travis Wilkes. Brian reassures April that their festival trip is innocent. They believe the destination is close enough to protect them. Brian hears April thank him for giving her an escape. Travis approaches and asks where the young couple is headed. Elsewhere, Dallas introduces Katie to his father, Hank. Hank notices the wounds from their mutual murder attempt. Dallas casually admits that he and Katie tried killing each other. Hank calls the bloodshed proof that their love is genuine. Katie hears Hank ask about Travis, implying April and Brian remain trapped.